Snow, rain, and a mix of both for the weekend, but it is going to be light. We'll track it out on Future Track and talk about the warm-up that arrives next week as well in the full forecast.
Plus, a violent beginning to the new year in Rock County after an early morning shooting. We'll hear from residents in the town of Fulton about what they think happened here. And today, millions of Americans on Obamacare feeling some sticker shock with their health insurance costs. We'll look at the options that could help bring costs down. It's all ahead on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. It has been a pretty chilly 24 hours since we welcomed in the new year. Meteorologist Blaze Keller is here now with what we can expect as we head for the weekend, Blaze.
And it is looking to be warmer, certainly into those 20s. We'll feel nice after hanging out in some cooler temperatures, not only today, but over the last maybe day or so. Single digits tonight underneath clear to mostly clear conditions. Winds are going to be light, so a bit of a wind chill not only this evening, but if you're up early on Friday. Speaking of Friday, a little bit more sunshine. We start to get into those 20s tomorrow. Few of us lingering in the teens further north and east, but we are set to warm on up as we head further into Saturday and then Sunday. Mid-20s Saturday, upper 20s to low 30s on Sunday. Light snow possible Saturday, emphasis on the light, probably a half an inch or less for most of us. Winds remaining light and out of the west. Turning out of the south on Sunday, bringing us that evening mix that will wrap up by early Monday morning. Upper 20s to low 30s are going to feel nice to end the weekend, but we're possibly climbing into the 40s by later parts of next week. We'll track out when the 40s arrive and if there's any rain with these warming temperatures in the forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Blaze, thank you. Right now, a man is in the hospital after a shooting in the Rock County town of Fulton near the interstate early into the new year. News 3 Now's Nash Dara has more details about what happened.
Here on this quiet cul-de-sac right outside of Edgerton, neighbors say they woke up to gunshots. Just 2 hours into the new year, law enforcement responded to the scene to assist in what would be a gunshot wound.
When my husband left for work, he saw a slew of police cars and a crime scene investigation van.
Neighbors told me what was seemingly a New Year's Eve house party quickly turned to the site of a crime.
You just never know. It can happen in any neighborhood. Yeah, this is a very nice neighborhood, but they were having a big party, and I don't know what the circumstances were, but, you know, it's New Year's Eve. People were partying, having a good time until they weren't. I did call for more information from the Rock County Police Department, and they said that the scene was contained and there was no threat to the public.
Rock County law enforcement say they are still investigating. Near Edgerton, Nash Dara, News 3 Now.
And as more details emerge about the incident, we'll keep you updated at channel3000.com. All lanes on the I-3990 Interstate South are back open this evening after a crash blocked 2 right lanes on Madison's east side near Lean Road. Wisconsin Department of Transportation said it happened about 2:20 this afternoon. State Patrol responded. We reached out to get more details about how many vehicles were involved, if there were any injuries, but have yet to hear back. We'll continue to keep you updated right here on News 3 Now and online at channel3000.com. Now to a developing story overseas. A night of celebration in the Swiss Alps has ended in tragedy. About 40 people were killed when a fire broke out at a ski resort bar during a New Year's Eve party. More than 100 more were injured, most of them seriously. It happened in Montana. Rami Anasencio is there.
This was the harrowing scene inside the bar. Cell phone video capturing the tragedy's first moments. Flames swept fast across the wooden ceiling of the bar, La Constellation. Panicking partygoers in the basement who rushed in a frenzy to get out. The fire then rose up and engulfed the upper level. Survivors in the freezing cold frantically searched for missing friends and family, turning what had been a night of joy at this upscale ski resort into a nightmare. 16-year-old Axel Clavier broke a window to escape. He said one of his friends died and 2 or 3 others were still missing. Suddenly, there was a blaze, very intense. Then we were trapped, he said. I didn't see how it started, but it seems to me that there were some waitresses with bottles of champagne with little sparklers, and they got too close to the ceiling. The bar posted this promotional video in 2024. It's not known if bottles with sparklers like these were present and whether they may have contributed to the cause of the fire. 19-year-old Nathan Huguenin was just outside when the fire started. I'm still in shock. I can't comprehend what happened, he said. I saw people completely burned. I saw people dying. The emergency response was massive. 10 helicopters, 40 ambulances, and about 150 personnel. At least 40 people were killed and at least 115 injured in the inferno. Many of those wounded in critical condition from serious burns and smoke inhalation were flown to more than half a dozen hospitals across the country. Switzerland's president called the fire one of the country's worst tragedies on this first day of a new year that should have been about new beginnings.
And officials say it's just too early to determine the cause. In fact, investigators haven't been able to get inside the site yet, with a lot of people still unaccounted for and their remains potentially inside. One witness who's been going to the bar since he was young told me that the official capacity of 400 should never have been that, and that a max of 60, maybe 70 was probably safest. Investigators may be looking into overcrowding that turned this bar into first a matchbox and then a death trap.
That was Rami Anasuncio reporting. Last night, Union Cab had several cars out ready to drive New Year's Eve celebrators around town. Union Cab with 7 vehicles out last night, 2 of them dedicated for those who need wheelchairs. And between the weather and the limits of walkers, Union Cab's workers say it's more important than ever that rides make their services available to everyone.
A dedicated team who can locate your person, put them in the vehicle, get them where they need to go, and discharge that person is really important. New Year's Eve is a great night to explore that, because so many people have diminished physical abilities because of their drinking, that they can really see that experience. They don't realize it, but I think that seeing that is important.
Union Cab offers its wheelchair-friendly rides every day of the year. And the busiest birthing center in Wisconsin, celebrating its first birth of 2026. This is Azariah. He was born just 21 minutes after midnight at Unity Point Health Mariner. Welcome to the world, Azariah. And still ahead, sticker shock for many Americans. We talked to one local man who is struggling with how much his health care will cost in the new year and options to make things a bit cheaper. And a warm-up on the way to start 2026. We hope so. Blaze has your full forecast when we come back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10. Moving forward.
It has taken like a real life check of like, what money should I put towards this? I'm like getting groceries. What money can I put towards my rent? What money can I put towards my health care?
Nathaniel Lenz finds himself wrestling with a difficult decision of how to pay for life's necessities or health care after the government stopped helping pay for health insurance premiums under the Affordable Care Act today. Lenz has cerebral palsy and says he was paying about $5 a month in 2025 for care he can't do without. But now his bills are leaping to $581 a month through the Affordable Care Act. And Lentz, one of millions who are seeing those health insurance costs go up this year. Tax credits that help low-income families afford their insurance plans in the federal marketplace have now expired after Congress failed to pass a bill to extend them. But premium costs across the board are going up, and it's impacting almost everyone. Jen Sullivan looks at how much more you could be paying and the various options out there to help you bring costs down.
Millions of Americans will be paying more for health insurance this year. That's because tax credits that help people pay for plans on the federal marketplace, known as Obamacare, have expired.
Sadly, it's no longer going to be affordable.
Jeremy Coolish says he lost his job in the spring, forcing him and his wife to get insurance through the marketplace. He says their current plan costs $392 with tax credits, but those subsidies are now gone.
Without subsidies, it would be something like $1,608.
Millions of Americans are in a similar dilemma. KFF estimates 24 million people signed up for insurance through the Affordable Care Act in 2025. Of those enrollees, roughly 92% received subsidies. Without those tax credits, KFF says average annual premium costs could rise by 114%.
People simply can't afford some of the premiums that have been happening in this coming year.
Zonjanice Jacobs is an insurance navigator in Florida. Every state employs navigators who are available to answer your questions for free.
They know what kind of prescriptions they're going to need or what kind of doctor's appointments they're going to need to go to, or other procedures that they're going to have. We make sure that we walk through the process by looking at each one of those plans that fit within the confines of their budget.
Here are some other options. Many states have expanded the income qualifications for Medicaid. Go to healthcare.gov/lower costs to see if you qualify. Private insurance plans, lower premiums, but out-of-pocket costs may be higher and there may be more services not covered. Short-term medical plans, low monthly premium costs, but very high deductibles. To help lower prescription costs, many big pharmacies recommend using coupons through GoodRx. It's free. And AARP also offers free prescription discount cards. In New York, I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
The deadline to sign up for insurance on the Affordable Care Act is January 15th. We turn now to weather. Blaze looks at our forecast as we get the new year started.
And it is going to be warm as we go into next week, sunny to end this work week. And then as we head into the weekend, a mix of some light snow as well as an actual rain snow mix as temperatures climb out of the low to mid 20s Saturday and get into those upper 20s to low 30s by Sunday. High pressure continues to move in out of Canada, and that's going to keep us cool tonight and quiet as we go into Friday. Winds are going to continue to remain light, but this high pressure system will continue to push its way south. As it does, it may spark up a few hit or miss snow showers as we go into Saturday. Light in nature, probably a half an inch to a dusting at best. Now, as that continues to push off towards the south, it's going to combine with southerly winds with this next incoming low starting later Sunday afternoon, and that's going to bring us that rain-snow mix as we go overnight into Monday. We might also get a little bit of some ice. Some slick spots certainly can't be ruled out going into the overnight hours on Sunday into the start of Monday as warmer air moves on in and then hits the colder air that's been overhead before it completely changes over to being warm. So there's that mix moving on in, but the good news is after this holiday weekend, we will be clearing this out by the time we're heading to work. So I would say between 6 and 7, the last of it will wrap on up. There still may be some slick spots out there, so keep that in mind. But generally speaking, we're really set to warm on up. So even later Monday afternoon, we'll do a lot of melting, and any of those slick spots will melt as well. We stay in the upper 30s to low 40s all throughout next week. Even though temperatures will be on the warmer than average side next week, we are ending the month of December on the cooler than average side for the Madison area. About 4 degrees cooler than average, making our average temperature through the year about 48.1 degrees. We only had 4 months out of the year that were cooler than average. We have to wait until mid-December or mid-January for December's data for the entirety of Wisconsin. But if it is cooler than average, that'll be our first one throughout the entire year of 2025. As of November, our average temperature for the month was about 47 degrees. There was a look at our 7 and 10 day forecast. As temperatures continue to rise next week, especially our overnight lows, Wednesday and Thursday in particular, we're going to do a lot of kind of double N melting. The snow isn't really here, so the ice at the surface of the lake, and then as waters warm a little bit below the surface and below that ice, will probably kind of bookend melt a little bit of that ice. So please be careful if you're heading out on the lakes over the next week, especially by next weekend. I'm seeing reports that most of our area lakes are about 6 to 7 inches thick, but no ice is 100% safe. And with these warmer temperatures next week, I have a feeling that they're probably going to thin.
Yeah, be really careful if you're heading out there, especially as those warmer temps arrive. Blaze, thank you. And by the way, both of Madison's big lakes are now officially iced over. Lake Mendota officially froze over today. That's later than the median freeze date of December 20th, which scientists say continues a tradition of tough to predict freezing. Lake Monona, by the way, froze over back on December 12th, and this winter is also the Clean Lakes Alliance's 15th Mendota Freeze Contest. More than 19,000 people tried to predict when it would freeze over. Of those, 22 got it right. And from there, the Clean Lakes Alliance will randomly pull 3 winners who they'll notify of their gift card winnings by email. Well, at the stroke of midnight, a flurry of new laws took effect in places around the country with the start of 2026, and they impact everything from SNAP food benefits to online subscriptions. Bradley Blackburn has a roundup of those legal changes.
When the ball dropped in Times Square, millions of Americans got an instant pay raise. In 19 states, the minimum wage increased with the start of 2026. Nationwide, it amounts to a $5 billion earnings boost for workers, according to the Economic Policy Institute. At many grocery stores, SNAP food benefits will no longer cover things like candy and sugary sodas. Restrictions are now in place in 5 states and expand to 18 by the fall, with the support of Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
It's about nutrition, and there's no nutrition in these products.
Some trade groups and grocers say it could increase prices for everyone with limited benefit to public health. In Georgia, a new law aims to help people prepare for natural disasters by opening catastrophe savings accounts that can grow tax-free. Here in New York, it's now easier to ditch online subscriptions. Companies are required to make the process of canceling as simple as signing up. Also in New York State, styrofoam coolers are on ice. It's now illegal to sell the chests, which could take centuries to decompose. Hotels in Illinois are now barred from giving out those little shampoo bottles. They're being pushed to switch to refillable pumps. And in Virginia, social media companies are required to limit users younger than 16 to 1 hour per day. But parents can raise or lower that time. Lawmakers say it can help kids.
You see how much it hinders their ability to do well in school, and you see how much it hinders their socialization with their friends.
New habits in the new year by law.
And several states are also trying to put limits on the use of AI. Illinois requires employers to disclose when artificial intelligence is involved in hiring and promotion decisions. And California is mandating safeguards for how chatbots communicate with minors. Still ahead, the Packers may have their QB situation decided for the weekend, but Jordan Love says it's far from the end for him. That's just ahead in sports.
And now, News 3 Now Sports, brought to you by TDS Telecom.
Green Bay is getting ready for the regular season finale in Minnesota Sunday. Though third stringer Clayton Tune will get the start at quarterback, Jordan Love has cleared concussion protocol, and well, who knows? Our Packers senior writer Jason Wilde with more from Lambeau Field.
Packers starting quarterback Jordan Love has cleared the NFL's concussion protocol, but he will not play in Sunday's regular season finale against the Minnesota Vikings. Instead, the Packers are going to keep him bubble wrapped until the playoffs begin the following week. Now, given that timeline, it means that he will not have played in 3 weeks, from the concussion that he suffered on December 20th in Chicago to when the playoffs begin January 10th, 11th, or 12th. For Love, that's a long time without game action. But if you think he's going to be rusty or that time off will affect his game, he has news for you.
I mean, you're dealing with NFL players still in practice, so I would even argue sometimes that you get in the game and it feels like it slows down a little bit compared to practice. So, no, it's something where, I've played all season. It's not like I sat out all season and just coming back. I have a lot of banked reps playing out there. I know what it's like to be in the field and feel those things, and obviously vice versa with practice, trying to emulate game speed and get everything back to feeling like you're in that atmosphere.
The Love-less Packers will take on the Vikings at noon on Sunday, and you can watch that game right here on Channel 3. We'll have full coverage leading into the game and of the game itself live from Minneapolis on our website, channel3000.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for our Packers newsletter, which delivers that coverage directly to your inbox every single day. In Green Bay at Lambeau Field, Jason Wilde, channel3000.com.
You can catch the game between the Pack and Minnesota, as you've heard all week, right here on Channel 3. The Vikings host the Packers. It's a noon kickoff at U.S. Bank Stadium. And, folks, how about those Indiana Hoosiers? Cream and Crimson making light work of the Alabama Crimson Tide, one of the least competitive games of the playoff era. Top-ranked Hoosiers were never challenged. 38-3 winners, Indiana's first-ever Rose Bowl win. Heisman winner Fernando Mendoza, just 2 incompletions. He threw 3 touchdown passes. Bama held under 200 yards of total offense. And it was a homecoming for North Carolina native Steph Curry. As the Golden State Warriors faced the Charlotte Hornets on New Year's Eve, Curry received special honors on his visit back home. Exit 30 on Interstate 77 outside the Charlotte area, renamed the Steph Curry Interchange, the exit to his alma mater, Davidson College.
Anybody who passes that interchange or passes that sign has been a part of my journey and helped me get there, and hopefully feel a little bit of pride in that. More people can experience it with me and been a part of the journey. So don't call me though if you get a speeding ticket on that.
Beautiful campus there at Davidson. That's it for Sports Blaze. Back with a final check of the forecast after a break.
Tonight on Colbert.
Some people are losing their jobs because they're speaking out against the President of the United States.
New Jersey Governor-elect Mikey Sherrill. Tonight.
Finally, tonight, some wild video released by authorities in Texas shows a bumbling ATM heist that turned a convenience store virtually inside out in the process. Now, in the video, one person bashes their way into the store and attached what appeared to be some sort of tow cable to the ATM. The other person in the SUV hits the gas, and they send the ATM simply flying through the store. Look at that thing, just flying through the store, destroying everything in its path. Another tug of the machine came flying out of the store's entrance into the parking lot there. The suspects aren't seen attempting to load the stolen machine, instead taking off and simply dragging it behind their vehicle, which police in this small Texas town said was also stolen. The department later shared an image of the ATM, which they say had been found abandoned by a nearby service road. The mind-boggling incident remains under investigation. And if your New Year's resolution was to go absolutely bonkers, these guys are with you. Hundreds of people started the new year in a very cold way, jumping into Lake Michigan. The Polar Bear Plunge, a New Year's Day tradition along the Milwaukee lakefront, always for a good cause. But yikes, I don't know. That's pretty tough to do. Here we talked about the ice being frozen over, but maybe some warming up and some stability in the temperatures going ahead.
Yeah, we're looking at the 30s and 40s next week. So if you haven't been a fan of the cooler temperatures, we just have to wait a little bit longer. Tomorrow, though, we are back into the low 20s. Plenty of sunshine. Winds are going to be light. So there may be a bit of a wind chill, but it's not going to be as bad as some of the wind chills that we have been put through already this winter season. Mid to upper 20s Saturday and Sunday. Light snow Saturday and then more of a rain-snow mix on Sunday. And that's going to be in the evening. So if you're heading back from the cities, that's where the Packers are playing.
That's right, Sunday. Indoors.
You may be running into a rain-snow mix, so just keep that in mind. But that wraps up by the time we go into Monday morning. So as we're all going back to work, upper 30s to low 40s, maybe making going back to work a little bit better. At least it's not going to be really, really cold. Another rain-snow mix Tuesday. And with temperatures warming up, not only overnight, but during the day, just please be careful on the ice. We don't want to report on any stories of people falling in.
Right, we get that every year, so be careful out there. And don't worry about the freezing rain or whatever. Just stay on the couch on Sunday, watch the game between the Packers and the Vikings right here. Noon kickoff right here, of course, as we mentioned all week on Channel 3 and CBS. Thanks for watching News 3 Now at 10, folks. Coming up now is The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, our next newscast. Tomorrow morning starting at 4:30. Or is tomorrow Friday? Yeah, it's tomorrow Friday.
I don't know.
So it's 5 a.m. Friday. And you can always find us streaming 24/7 at Channel 3000 Plus. Have a good night, folks.